Welcome back, Lenz's Comic Corner, Classics as Non-Classics, episode 270, and Doubleshot number 202. First up is this big, huge trade called Avengers / Iron Man Forceworks. Now, some of you might be thinking, why does it have that title for? Quite simply this, because the book is very heavily related. I mean, yeah, Forceworks is an Avengers book, but it also kind of functions also as sort of a Iron Man team book in a way. The group is comprised of Iron Man himself, the Julia Carpenter Spider-Woman, U.S. Agent. Yes, this is U.S. Agent. Despite what you say, oh yeah, that's not U.S. Agent. Yeah, it is. He got a new costume. As far as I know, this is the only time. This is actually around or just close to the mid-90s in a way. Yeah. Let's see. Trying to find an actual date here is kind of hard. March of something. I don't remember exactly what it was though. Yeah. Now, this book contains the first 15 issues of the series, plus the Forceworks Ashcan edition, Century Distant Suns one-shot, and material from Iron Man / Forceworks Collector's Preview. Now all the issues in here are written by Dan Abnett and Living. Now, some of you are thinking, though, those names sound very familiar. Yes, these are the same guys who basically reinvented the Guardians of the Galaxy in the mid-2000s. Same guys. What they did at this point, they reinvented the Avengers West Coast as Forceworks. And of course, besides these three, you also have the Scarlet Witch, and for one issue only, Wonder Man. Yep. Though in the same issue, they introduced a brand new character called the Century, which I'll get to in a minute. Also, I should point this out, in the early issues, almost any time you see Julia Carpenter from the front in the first few issues of the series, she's always doing the Escher Girls pose. Yeah, show off her chest and butt at the same time. Heck, there's even a panel in issue 1. I have this saved in here. Let's see, where is it? Here we go. Even Wonder Man does it too. Yep, Wonder Man does the Escher Girls pose. Yep. And here's Julia Carpenter doing the Escher Girls pose. Also, I should point out that the first few issues of this series has really crappy artwork. I'm not kidding. I mean, if you look very closely, and this is actually sort of a restored coloring of the cover for issue 1. Let me show you the full cover. There you go. That's the cover for the book, and this is basically what issue 1's cover was. This gatefold, this wraparound cover. Now, now Marvel does occasionally still do this for some first issues, but not every single one has this. It's a very rare occasion when you have a book that has a wraparound cover. I mean, the cover itself looks fine. I mean, it's showing off the characters, so just pay for this one issue. Now, the reason why the U.S. Agent changed his costume, now there is an explanation for this. In story, in the final issue of Avengers West Coast, issue 102, the team was disbanded due to infighting and also the East Coast Avengers having humongous resentment over the West Coast because they saw the West Coast Avengers as an embarrassment. Here's the thing about that series. All the issues were good. Every single one. It had great artwork and great writing. People like Steve Englehart, the creator of Star-Lord, wrote the series for a good period of time. Even John Byrne wrote the series for a few years. The series was awesome. The only reason why I think they ended it was because, well, they wanted to do some reinvention. Probably also at the time, the series was going through low sales. That's probably my guess, the reason why they ended it. And plus the resentment in story had been going back to Operation Galactic Storm, where the Black Knight, who I think was actually a member. Now, It was sort of a split decision, basically, what to do with the Supreme Intelligence of the Korean Empire. The character's been killed off several times over the years, of if they're going to kill him or not. And, of course, the West Coast Avengers actually killed him, though he was killed off again in Black Vortex. But, give or take of that. And also, they also have resentment toward them due to a very recent event in the previous issue, prior to the disbandment of the West Coast Avengers, called Blood Ties. A mini crossover which pretty much was a prelude to Onslaught. Yes, I am not kidding about that. So basically Dan Abnett and Annie Lenning wrote it where in the last issue, where basically all the East Coast Avengers were like complete jerks, and was down talking the West Coast Avengers. Basically, Iron Man was the one who saw reason of all the resentment and lack of support for the East Coast branch. At that point in time, he actually had faked his death for some reason. I'm not really sure why. I completely forgot. It's been a little while since the Iron Man issues 90s. Yeah, for some reason he's had to fake his death. So, yeah. So he comes back. Everybody's shocked to see him. And of course, Hawkeye had disappeared because his wife was killed by Mephisto 2 issues prior to the final issue. Yeah, they had to kill her off in issue 100, though Bendis later retconned it that it was actually a Skrull who died, not the actual Mockingbird. But give or take at that. So Iron Man, due to all the resentment and lack of support from the East Coast branch, disbanded the West Coast Avengers and reformed them as Force Works. And they even showed in the very opening issue, they actually showed the West Coast compound, which was damaged, apparently because, it got damaged, let's just suspend the team, despite the fact that the Avengers Mansion has been damaged at that point in time at least a half a dozen times, and yet one attack on the West Coast branch, let's just suspend them right away. And also the infighting. Okay, last time I checked, on an occasion, the East Coast branch has all suffered through this as well. Now, I do not know why the writing was like this at that point in time. Now, Dan Abnett and Lenning are very good writers, and this is really good. The biggest strength of this particular thing is the writing. The writing is fantastic. It's very logical about how they write this up. Now, the book itself would also have references what goes on the Iron Man book, which was also published this time. And they introduced this new character after Wonder Man had got killed. Yeah, he got killed off in the first issue. So I guess maybe Dan Abnett and Lenning really wanted to use Wonder Man, so they decided to kill him off anyways, and create this new character called the Sentry. Yes, this is what the character was doing in his very first appearance. Having his mouth open for no explained reason. Yeah, he's talking, but yeah, here's the thing. A lot of the male characters who is not Iron Man are doing this. I mean, this is the biggest problem with these opening issues, is the fact that all the male characters are drawn horribly. Yeah, this is so bad, and yet this got past an editor. And the artist for this, I'm not criticizing this guy's artwork. The artist who did these issues was Tom Tinney. The artwork for these issues was just so bad. But after the first few issues, and here's something surprise if you, yeah, after the first few issues, the artwork got much better. I mean, look at this. This artwork is much better. Probably because Dave Taylor took over the artwork with issue. This is like, of course, that was from issue number 6. But, okay, well, but once they added the Sentry, the lamp did not change. Also, I do have one criticism for this trade. They have parts. I think it's parts 1 and 4 of this 6-part crossover known as The Hands of the Mandarin, and they don't include the Iron Man War Machine issues. Now, they are part of the... There is a trade called Iron Man / War Machine where they do collect the entire crossover. This trade does not include those issues. So you're wondering, like, where are these issues? Well, they do give a text recap exactly what happened. Also, this is what the Mandarin looked like during the time of this crossover. Yep, they have him draw like that. And if you're ever wondering, like, you're probably thinking, though, now, some people are thinking, Captain America only changed his costume once, and that was for Avengers. That was for Marvel Now. Not true. He did change it one time before that, very briefly, in the mid-90s, to where he was wearing this. Yes, this is what Captain America wore. This is what he wore in the mid-90s for a brief period of time. I think it was during the Mark Waid run. Yeah, it was right after Mark Greenwald left the book and Mark Waid took over, and he had him wear this outfit for some unexplained reason. I don't know why. Also, and this is in issue 8, mind you, Hawkeye comes back. First time he was seen in the Marvel Universe at this point since issue 100. Now he explains where the heck he's been. He's been hiding in the mountains this whole time. Does he join this team? Nope. That's what I'm thinking, though. Man, this team looks very familiar. And ForceWorks. Yes, this team was also used the Iron Man cartoon from the 90s. Except they replaced U.S. Agent with Hawkeye for some reason. There's no explained reason why. At least Hawkeye actually does show up in the book for like one issue. His appearance there is simply just to follow up exactly what happened to him. I think he did join up with the East Coast branch after that. Now, how long did this series last for? Did it last 15 issues? No. The series got canned after 22 issues, mainly due to low sales. But hey, it lasted longer than Extreme Justice, which came out around the same time pretty much this series started. Of course, that series ended after publishing 19 issues. So you got to get credit for that. I also get credit for the fact that Dan Abbott Adelaide probably saw the fact that people were criticizing the series for its bad artwork, so they changed artists after the first few issues. I have nothing against the artist, except that his artwork, how he draws the guys, the faces, are really bad. I'm not kidding. Now, you probably won't see any trades for Extreme Justice, because by half the series has got really crappy artwork and the writing is terrible. But this has great artwork. And it also has great pacing. It's great everything except for the first 2 issues of bad artwork. But I do recommend this simply for people who are fans of the Avengers, probably any of the other characters, maybe a fan of Iron Man. I would definitely pick this up, and it's only $40. Yeah, I got this from the library. So, this book is good. So, I give it a 9.5 I give it a 9 out of 10. It's a good book. But, try to get used to seeing the artwork for the first 2 issues. Alright? Next up, classic G.I. Joe, Volume 17. This book contains issues 166, 175. Now, this is the IDW era for G.I. Joe American Hero, which is a continuation of the Marvel series. And here's something interesting, though. It picks up right where this is the second trade review for that collects issues from this era. It picks up like right after issue 155 ended. That's where the series leaves off. Now, this book is only contained just 10 issues. I'm not going to spoil much of anything that happens in here because this is just awesome. Because Larry Hama does a great job writing this. And the artist in here, the main artist for these issues is S.L. Gallant. There's also additional artwork by Ron Wagner for issues 166, 173, and Will Renner for 173 as well. But the artwork in here is fantastic. I have got to hand it to the artist for being very consistent. And from what I can tell, this artist is still on the book. Yeah. I mean, if you look at every single issue, I have not read 156 yet, mainly because the site where I got the other issues. I did get a chance to finish up reading the other issues. They're all awesome. And this is awesome as well. 229 awesome issues in a row. And one thing I got to hand to Larry Hama, even the issues not written by him were actually really good. So because of the fact all the issues in here are so good, and you do get a chance to see a lot of the classic characters, and the one thing I do praise the series for doing is having the characters who look completely different in the later part of the series after 100, like Cobra Commander basically wearing a black suit, where he's normally blue. He wears like a blue costume. He wore black for a later part of the series. Here, he goes back to classic. Everybody's in their classic outfits, which I do praise IDW for the artist for doing that, because he must be a huge fan of the original comic when it was publishing from 1982 to 1995. So he must think, I didn't really care for the later costumes. He probably asked Larry Hama, Larry, can I please put these characters back in their classic costumes? And I'm sure Larry's like, sure, why not? As long as you get to write the comic. So that's probably what happened. I honestly don't have any idea of how basically they explain this. Now, they started publishing this comic back in 2010. That's when the comic was brought back. And the comic's been publishing really well for the past 6 years. There was even a brief point in time last year when they increased the publication amount of issues for about 3 months, when they increased it from 1 to 2 issues for a storyline known as Cobra Nation. This lasted from issues 219 to about 220, I think about 224, I believe it was, yeah. Right now it's back to be back on a monthly basis. It was part of a storyline called Cobra Nation. Awesome storyline. I highly recommend it. But this, still awesome. Stuff with the brainwave stuff. And I do praise Larry Hama for making a lot of references to the original comic, which he started, by the way. I really wish the editor would put like little editor notes like that. Even though he puts there stuff that happens in this era, these amount of issues. Now, IDW does own the rights to those issues. I don't see why you can't put like an editor like this happened in this particular issue for the classic series, for the classic era of this particular comic book. Like I said, don't want to spoil anything. It's awesome. Highly recommend it. I give it a 9 out of 10. Awesome. Alright, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for episode 271 and Doubleshot number 203. Okay? Until then, see you there. Bye.